So wonderful. Yay, now we're recording. Now it's official. How are you, Tammy? I'm Lori Beard, for those of you that are finding us for the first time. And my co-host here is Tammy Crawford, and she's amazing. How are you today, Tammy?
Good. Thanks, Lori. And I'm excited to be here, excited to see everyone again today. And we have our special guest here, and it's Andres, right?
Yes,
Uh,
that's me.
and he's coming all the way from Thailand today. But we are excited to have him, and we're excited to have you here. And so make sure you like and share. If you have any questions, be sure to ask them in the chat. And even if you're watching later on, be sure to come in here and ask questions. We always like hearing from you. We always love your post, and we love your participation. And of course, we love it when you share. So welcome, Andres.
Thank you, Tammy. Lori, it's good to be here.
Yes, and we are so happy to have you. We know you have a lot of stories to tell us and experiences in your life. And of course, we look for stories in nature, particularly. That's what we're about, right? Unlocking freedom in nature, where people have had amazing stories. Like last week, our guest told us about bungee jumping in a very high place and enjoying nature, etc. And we want to know, Andres, what is your experience in nature?
As a highly sensitive person that is able to attune myself to energies of nature and universe, nature always had a special place in my heart. Practitioner of Tai Chi, maybe you have heard about this art. Basically, many years ago, when sages were old and wise, there was a man who lived approximately 300 years, observed a fight between an eagle and a snake, and that is how Tai Chi was born. Tai Chi is a dance through life, what's within is what outside. And nature, if you have your eyes open, always give you the best lesson. Like nature never rushes, yet everything is done on time. So I observe that I rush. Why do I rush? And when I run towards my goal, do my goals run away from me? And why do I need to run? Am I worthy enough? Because if I believe who I am, that means if you put a seed of an apple, what are the chances of it turning to be a grapevine? No. Nature is the ultimate teacher if you are willing to be taught.
I totally agree with you. I live in nature. I'm surrounded by forests. It's kind of like when Lori and I got off our meeting yesterday. I walk out, look out my living room window, and there's 3 deer in the front yard. You know, and and so I go out and I'm like, okay, what are you guys eating? And I did take a photo of one of them, and they just go down to the ferns casually, but I can sit for hours just watching the birds and the squirrels or listening to the water flow. There's, like you said, there's just something about nature. It is calm, it's relaxing. Even in the storms, I find it to be kind of relaxing, So or if you go, like you said, on a nature hike, there's just something about it.
There's something you said that I love, Andres, and I know you say it's super amazing, your name. I trying to say it as amazing as you do, but you said nature is a teacher, and if we allow to be taught by it, what other lessons have you? I sense, and I heard you saying like you don't want to rush, like nature doesn't rush. Any other lessons you've learned from nature?
If you have your eyes open and ears ready to listen, each hike, each journey through nature can be a blessing, can be a lesson. Just imagine you're hiking in the mountains. If you want to get to the top and somehow you think that collecting things that you find through this journey will make it easier for you, you are incorrect. By gathering the things, your backpack will be heavy, and eventually all you can do is sit at the bottom of the mountain and harass other people trying to enjoy the hike. Teacher has always been ultimate. Sorry, what did I say? That's funny. Nature has always been ultimate teacher for me. Like I was observing how day become the night, how day easily gives up its power to the night. And when the night is the strongest, it does the same. It gives up to the day. So what is the difference between the day and night? It's how we react to those things. It's all within us. And it
Yes.
teaches us about balance. Balance is very important.
I love your whole description there. So we think alike. So
Mhm. I want to shout out our people watching us. Erin is watching. She's usually multitasking. Andrzej, she's usually at work and listening. Melissa from Utah is saying that it's a beautiful morning already over there, and she's gardening as she listens. And also Susan, she excitedly said hello. So I love that you are here. You're sharing with us. You're taking your time to join us and tune in, and that is very, very important to us. Tammy and I get super excited to know there's people watching live. And if you have questions for Andrzej, he has an amazing back. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Wow. I don't think I'm that special. And in fact, my attachment to being special would only grow my ego while my spirit, while my soul takes a backseat on this journey. And then that power won't be able to flow through me. So there are some labels that I could use to describe myself, but they will only get away farther from the truth. And
so I think a different question would be, how did you get started on your journey?
by doing the first step. Well, I've been born quote unquote different. As mentioned, I'm highly sensitive and I have been blessed with other gifts that I could not use correctly. So by being different, by seeing things differently, by different lenses, I came to the conclusion that I'm the odd one and I wanted something to make me whole again. So I started this journey through modalities, through different experiences to explain what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling. But the truth is, God doesn't make mistake. We're all here for a reason. And what was happening is I was fighting with myself. So if I was fighting with myself, the universe fight back. And all I was experiencing was troubles, grief, sadness, pain, anger, and fear. You could say that I'm here because I made all the mistakes that were possible.
We learn from our mistakes, don't we? And it either makes us
Most.
stronger or weaker. So, and it sounds like, because I've had, I have always used nature and art as the therapy, for pain management, for just different things, because I don't know, it's just like there's just nothing more incredible than just being able to go out there and garden or go on a walk or hike. And when I visualize everything you said. I'm one of those that I just visualize everything anybody says at all times. So when you're talking about the hiking, and I'm picturing the backpack and putting things in it, and it reminds me of little kids always picking up this stone and that stone or
The
that
stick.
stick. Not saying I don't pick up shells or rocks occasionally, but I try to pick those up on my way down the mountain. Not going up, because going up, like you said, you're not going to make it because your backpack's already full. And if you keep adding and adding, but I just love that story. So thank you so much for sharing that story.
You're,
We wanna-
you're, you're highly sensitive as well, right?
I am. So
And but that's I'm curious, Andres, to know why is it that you think because you were highly sensitive or you said different, you needed to be whole again? Like, has there been a point within that journey you have found that it's okay to be different?
Mm. In this life, I can be only one person, and that is me. Everyone else is already taken. By trying to be someone else, I'm just losing my potential because I would never be as good as Tammy is Tammy. I would never be as good Lori as Lori is. The only person I can be good at is Andrzej.
Right. So what would you have to say for those people that are in the same journey and experiencing the grief and the trouble and the anger?
The spirit grows when you confront what is hard. When you do the hard things in life, your life becomes easy. Picture you have a garden and you want the beautiful plants in that garden. You need to make space for them. So you weed the weed and you nurture what you want to grow. So take a journal, start to write down the thoughts that are limiting you, the beliefs that are limiting you, emotions that are limiting you, and just observe them. That is enough. And if you want that pattern to dissolve, observe them day by day. And by this act of awareness, you dissolve it because you no longer feed it its energy. And we might think that those beliefs are in our head. That's true. But in our head, they are being fed by electricity that is running through our body and is created by our brains. So the more we think about a thing, our brain, our mind will want to prove it right as a placebo effect or self-fulfilling prophecy or confirmation bias. So be aware of those thoughts because they will create your reality and eventually your destiny. And it is those things that we are not aware are the issue. And we are not aware of the things that we are not aware. So it is a dog chasing its own tail.
I love how you said the art of awareness. Oh my goodness. That's been something that I've been trying to relay to the people around me, my own children, my clients. Awareness is just amazing because awareness helps us understand ourselves better. And as we understand ourselves better, we can understand the world around us better. So I really
I
appreciate that.
agree. Imagine you're driving a car. You have absolutely no awareness what's going on. You don't see what's left. You don't see what's right. You don't even see what's in front of you. So who knows what might happen? You might end up in a river or in a lake, and you would have absolutely no idea how you got there. You would be causing everyone around you, but ultimately it is your fault.
Yeah, and then also like even before that, awareness about surroundings while driving, awareness of our feelings. There's so much road rage and people just reacting while driving or in a bad mood that self-awareness, right? About ourselves. It's what it's going to help us get to our destination better as we
Yes.
understand our intention and purpose of where is it that is our destination, right? Instead of ending up in a river or an accident or something like that. So that's why it's so important. And I really appreciate you calling it the art of awareness. So thank you.
Well, it's kind of like I was telling Lori, I think we were talking about this yesterday because we were talking about clients and grandkids and stuff. And I mentioned is a lot of times people don't think before they speak because our words not only affect us, but they affect everyone around us, or the things we do. And so it's kind of like I shared thing about a cup of coffee, it's what's in that a cup of coffee, is accidentally spilled. Is it that cup of coffee? It doesn't matter what's in it. And I'm not as clear as you are, Andreas, on this, but it's what's inside us that spills out. If we're filled up with anger and stuff, that's what's going to spill out. But if we're filled up with love and kindness and stuff, that's what can spill out. Does that make sense?
You cannot give something that you yourself don't have it.
Right.
And anger is this feeling that sooner or later will erupt like a volcano. And if you observe it, it seems that we always erupt in front of our loved ones. It's never the stranger, it's the loved ones that we hurt, that we think we can do that too. And I need to say, you're quite strong, quite powerful empath, that you can attune to those things. And true, anger at someone else is like drinking a poison, thinking that it will damage the other person.
Right. It's only harming yourself. Yeah. Anything else you want to add before we conclude, Andrew, about nature or your journey or any of these practices you have studied and learned, which is all fascinating?
Let's talk a little bit more about anger.
Oh,
The sages of the past have found that anger is emotion that relates to, guess what? Liver. No surprises here. Liver also resonates with positive emotions like generosity and kindness. So if we know that anger, also frustration, can be transformed into generosity and kindness, we should do that and no longer be limited by those emotions. The sound that the liver likes is like the sound that leaves make on the wind. Shh. If you are able to put that sound in the liver, ideally without saying it and allowing the vibration of that sound to go through the liver, it will cleanse the liver, make space for generosity and kindness, and you will be free from anger, frustration, and everything that follows.
Oh, wow. So I know there's different kind of breathing. So is that considered a type of breathing with the shh to help let it out? Or?
There's different frequencies of sounds and stuff too, correct?
Correct.
Wow.
People in Ayurveda, yoga, like to activate chakras with the sounds. People in traditional Chinese medicine have found that each organ has particular frequency. You could say that what surrounds us is the music of the god. And sometimes those things need attunement. So by those sounds, we ensure that we tune them in and we release that what is not longer serving us. And obviously anger is not serving anyone.
No.
No.
Well, and when you're talking about sound, what's interesting is I was having this talk with my grandkids about a week ago, and I said, you have to be careful about the music you listen to, because some of the music is and I've always felt that way. It's like some music is just relaxing and I listen to the words, but it's not always just the words. It's the rhythm, it's the sound, the instruments that are used, because some music, it just irritates me. I don't know why, it's like, but it's like, and then other music I'm just totally fine with. And I've always, because some music will give me worse headaches where other music doesn't. So it's interesting with the different sound and, like you said, the frequencies. So
that's a thing that highly sensitive people struggle with. And music can be a tool, so it can be used by you or you can be used by it. And if you think about it, when people lost touch with their surroundings, they are very prone to be programmed by the lyrics of the music. So it's very dangerous to be caught in this flow of things.
Well,
Ideally,
and you see it with kids because some of the songs they were listening to were songs that, these other people had committed suicide and stuff.
Mm.
It's like they weren't good songs. I'm listening to the words and I'm like going, those aren't good words. So
Mhm.
why are you listening? So I am one of those. I question a lot.
Mm.
I ask lots of questions. But I had another question for you, and I can't think of it at the moment.
I was thinking this reminds me of a study by Lex de Acevedo. He's a musician, and he made a study, and they played music for plants, and plants with classical
Mm.
music will thrive and grow and blossom, and plants with other kind of music that I don't want to mention the genre will wilt and not survive very well. So that is very, very evident with science and how music influences. But I don't know if this is a question I have in terms of anger. What are your thoughts and what you've learned in your practices, etc., about anger being a catalyst for change? What I mean is some clients finally find a good coach or a teacher when they have had enough, and when maybe they're so angry with the results of their life that they want change, and anger leads them to want to change. Or a nation being under the tyranny of another nation, people realize they've been taken advantage of, and their anger is what causes them to revolt, for them to become independent. So I know anger has this bad rap, and it can be poison. But how about anger as a way to get to the next level in life? Is there something there, or is it called anger, or is it called just enough is enough? I'm going to do something to change, or what are your thoughts on that?
What's important is what works for you. And anger is neither bad or good. It is a tool for you to experience reality through. Some people need to experience pain to see that it is no longer serving them. And funny thing is, this world is built in a way that if you go far down to the pain, you will find pleasure. And it is similar to an archer that is drawing an through a bow. The archer has a bow, and I forgot the thing what it's called. But the stick with that
The arrow?
Arrow.
The arrow, yes. Yeah. Embarrassing.
Hey, don't be.
Good.
I do it all the time.
We're here for you.
So the archer takes a bow and fast he pulls the arrow. And you might think that he pulls it backward, but by pulling backwards, the arrow can fly so much to the distance. And it's similar to this thing. If you use it as a catapult for the better things, it's perfect. People, especially those that are obsessed with spiritual growth, first of all, use it as an escape tool, but they think that spirituality is all about feeling good, feeling blessed. It's actually not. It's about conquering the challenges. It's about facing who you truly are and letting go of what no longer suits you. And anger, if used correctly, is just another tool that enables that.
Yeah, we have a viewer here in our audience, Cecile. She's saying that anger is a strong feeling, and maybe that's when um, we we conf- we get confused and think it's bad, right? And I agree with feelings are not necessarily bad. Feelings are feelings, and that's what distinguishes us from the rest of the living things or species as humans. We experience these feelings as long as we don't allow them to hinder us, right, or to block us from progressing. Yes, definitely. Anger is a strong feeling, the same as love. Love is also a strong feeling. Somebody also pointed out here, let me see. Cecile also said it, that love is a strong feeling too. Yeah, and it can counteract the negative effects that anger sometimes causes, right? But love can also be very dangerous.
Well, it seems like people use anger a lot of times. It's what gets people started to move. is the way I'm looking at it. Is to me, it's almost like there's different types of anger. Like there's like 5 different types of love. It's like, a lot of people won't do anything, get off the couch, so to say, unless something motivates them. They won't go and confront somebody or talk to somebody unless they get angry enough, and then they take action. So that's just one way I see it too. So.
What's strongest is what is cultivated. If you cultivate love, it's gonna be strong. If you cultivate hate or anger, it's gonna be strong. And we most likely don't realize what we cultivate because we lack that awareness. It's like having this garden which we cultivate with closed eyes. All journeys start with being aware where you're going. And if you know that anger is an issue, you need to dissolve that. You can start to ask questions. Who exactly am angry at? I know that anger for me was usually targeted at me. I was angry because we highly sensitive people, we often daydream because, it's so overwhelming to feel so many emotions, so many energies. And then out of sudden we interact with others. And since our thoughts are elsewhere, our emotion are elsewhere, our soul is elsewhere, it's easy for us to be overtaken by third-party emotions. And that freezes us. Our belly sinks, we stop breathing. We would do anything to end that interaction. And we do at the cost of sponging negative emotion. But we are also human. So once that happens and we go home, we think that we definitely should do something different. Yeah, we should say something else. Okay, I'm gonna plan exactly how the next situation will look. I'm gonna be prepared. And guess what? We stop, we freeze, our belly sinks, and we look stupid. So that starts to have this huge impact on our self-esteem. And we start to hate ourselves because that hate was first initiated by lack of courage, by fear of doing what is necessary and expressing our minds. So in a way, fear caused anger, and all those negative emotions are connected in one way or another. By letting go of one piece of anger, you would let go other pieces of negative emotions, and you will make space for positive emotions. Again, like having a garden. If you weed the weeds, you would have more space for fruits, for plants that give you what you're looking for. So the first step is actually realizing, what do I want? And cultivate that.
I have to agree with you. Fear, I think, is the stem for a lot of people of the anger issue. And every time you talk about the garden, I picture my garden. So now when I'm out there, I'm going to be thinking of your word. So I'm going to go kind of back to the beginning, and because you were talking about how you always felt like you were the oddball or the cast. And in my book, I actually wrote about that it's okay. It's actually good. And as an artist, I actually encouraged people to be themselves. Stop trying to always be a copy of everybody else, but just be yourself. Find yourself. Find what you like, what you're good at. Listen, and you do that by experiencing and going and doing challenges, challenging yourself, writing, like you said, in a journal. Do you have a story for us, a metaphor for us for that? So I would love to hear it.
I can say only the same thing as I said. If you take an apple seed and put it to the ground, there is no possibility that it will turn to other tree than apple. We need to embrace who we are because that is the only person that we can be. And if we are constantly fighting ourselves because we want to be someone else, we want to behave differently, that fighting will also be something that the universe will be doing to us. So if you fight, the universe is like, this guy wants some fighting, I will give him fight, and he will fight you back. He will give you exactly what you want. This is a very funny trait of the brain, that this computer between our ears gives us exactly what we want to experience. If you think you're right, you're probably all right. If you think you're wrong, you're probably right as well. This is how confirmation bias works. So you need to understand that your beliefs about life impact you greatly. You need to identify which of them is serving you and which of them you are serving, and dissolve them by awareness. Eventually, you might come to this realization that all beliefs are glorified restrictions, and they need to be dissolved so you can truly experience the magnificence of nature and the world.
Oh my goodness. So this has been an amazing conversation. We want to point out, and I know Andres want to be very humble and not be attached to any labels. I know that. At the same time, I want to acknowledge the fact that he is at 11 o'clock or 11:30 now, where he is in Thailand. He is very late. However, he still wanted to be here, and he shared nuggets of wisdom. I appreciate your stories. I appreciate your metaphors. Like Tammy said about the cup of coffee, the cup of whatever, if it's hot chocolate, that's what you're gonna spill. Like, I like the idea of, like, if you plant a seed of apple, that's what you're gonna get. So, and the also the analogy and the metaphor on, depending on how we take care of our garden, how weed out what no longer serves us, what inhibits our growth, what is like being very aggressive with other plants and other things you want to nurture, is worth to go through that process, whether that's journaling, with breathing out in nature, to weed it out of our lives, so that what we want the most out of our own lives is acceptance, self-awareness, for us to continue growing. And I really love those stories and those teachings. So thank you for being here with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, our
Thank you
audience
for having me.
is going to be totally blessed with this. I love those little nuggets of wisdom. I hope people realize how much knowledge you just gave them. So, because sometimes the simplest things actually are the most powerful things. And your metaphors are very, very powerful. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you, Andres. I appreciate every single person that was here. Thank you so much for following us and being with us and showing your support. We love that. And thank you again. I hope everyone has a great week. Be sure to check out our retreat sites. We are taking reservations. We did change the one for North Idaho in July. We did have to cancel that. I had several things that came up, but we have it in August instead. So we thank you again, Andreas, for being here. It's been a blessing. Any last words?
Relax. Everything is perfect. You don't have to strive. God doesn't make mistakes, and you're not one of them. If you consciously choose to experience what your soul chooses to experience, stop fighting, embrace the challenges. Sometimes it's gonna hurt, but once you go through that, you realize that it was worth it, because it showed you who you are. And by searching externally, you found this value internally, and that is something that no one can take away from you.
So, yes, definitely. Thank you for those words of wisdom. Thanks to everyone, and thanks for being here. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye-bye.